Welcome back. We continue our discussion tonight with Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick. And this week, the family of Sandra Ulrich, who was murdered back in 1982, learned that the man who was convicted of killing her will now be released from prison. DA, we spoke with you at the time that all of this was going on with Howard Marnell, and would he be released? Would he not be released? You wrote a letter to the parole board saying, wait a minute, you should not be releasing this man. They reconsidered, and now they are going to release him. What do you make of it all?
I try to have everybody sit in their own spot. Please don't do the DA's job. Don't judge. Don't do my job, please.
Yeah.
And they're parole commissioners, and I have respect for them. But in reality, here's where I think they missed the point. This guy lied to them, okay? He didn't tell the truth about anything that happened that day, and they are, in a sense, rewarding him by letting him out. And it was, again, the same vote originally. It was three different commissioners, but it was still a 2-to-1 vote. I mean, that's how close this thing was. And it's heartbreaking to me because I see the suffering and the pain of the family, which will never go away. On the other side of the coin, he did do 30 years. And, he has not the greatest record in prison, but certainly not the worst. And now he's going to be watched very, very closely by some very, very good parole officers here in Central New York.
The family today, in Jim Kenyon's story, is calling for an extension of the time between reviews of parole from 2 to 5 years, which I guess if you're a victim's family sounds good. On the other hand, there are the rights of those who are in prison, and then that extends it out to twice the time. Where do you fall on that?
I would agree with that. Maybe 4 as a compromise, but certainly not 2. The family, here's a family that's gone to the parole board how many times? 8?
Yeah, right.
8 times?
Yeah.
And then they get told...
As soon as you're done, it's here it is
then
again.
they get told at the 9th time, don't worry, this guy ain't getting out, and boom, and they pull the rug out from under them. That's oppressive. Every 2 years you have to relive. Yeah, and believe me, it is reliving it. You have to go and testify the details. That was my sister. I never had the chance to see her have children. She never had the chance to see my children, and we never spent Christmases together anymore. Those are painful, horrible things that you have to go through, and every 2 years I just think is absurd.
All right, let's switch gears tonight and talk about the Onondaga County Crime Lab, because they have been making a lot of headlines recently. The Inspector General came out with a report recently, very critical of the Syracuse Police Department. What is going on here? Well,
first of all, I want to congratulate you for reading it, because some people did not read it, and thought that somehow it was praiseworthy of them. It was very, very critical. I can tell you that I've been in contact indirectly with the mayor's office, and I'm optimistic, as I always am, that the Syracuse Police Department is now going to reinstitute training with the crime laboratory and with my office on a whole panoply of things, including collection of forensic evidence, interviewing suspects, and relationships with the crime laboratory. Because the most important thing the report said was, okay, you're 0 for 18. You made 18 complaints. None of them have any merit. But the most important thing they said was, Chief Broughton, you don't understand the role of the district attorney. Somehow along the way, when you went from sergeant to deputy chief, somebody told you were the DA. You're not. And I hope there's some consequence for making a report, costing the taxpayers thousands of dollars, and a frivolous report, and besmirching the reputation, really, of the best crime laboratory director in the state of New York.
Well, you actually wrote to the mayor and the common council and asked them to hold somebody accountable for this, too. You had any response to that?
Yes, I got a response from the common council, and right now, the letter that I got back from them indicated, hey, we're really tied up with budgetary matters. This is a very important document. We're reading it, and we'd like to talk to you about it in the future. So my phone is available and my door is open.
Okay. All right, and we'll be calling you in another month.
And your calls I will take. Mulcahy, I'm not so sure.
That turns out to have been true over a long period of time. Thanks very much. As always, thank you for participating in the talk tonight. Remember, you're invited to enjoy the conversation anytime on our Facebook page, also our website.